Welcome to the Vacation Races and Friends podcast, a podcast about events, travel, and the people who love both. Find more episodes at vacationraces.com. Welcome back. We've got a new episode of Vacation Races and Friends podcast for you. I am calling the race announcer for Vacation Races. I've got Lyle Anderson in studio today, and we are talking Lake Powell Half Marathon, back to the original course. And I love this course, Lyle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is one of our fastest courses in Vacation Races.
It is a good one. It's a very, it doesn't feel downhill, but when you look at the overall elevation and everything, it's got a lot of downhill.
It's kind of rolly, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out fairly flat, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, but then once you get off the Page Rim Trail, it's a lot of dropping.
Yeah, you get some downhills and then some rollers that are going to kind of come up and down, but absolutely beautiful. This is one of our only events, I guess, that runs in the National Recreation Area. Generally, we're just outside of the parks and things like that, but we're actually in the National Recreation Area.
Yeah, we finish right there at the state line.
And actually, you get two states, too. You start in Arizona, you finish in Utah.
That's true.
So if you're knocking off the states,
yeah,
do you count it for Arizona? Like, how does that work?
That's a good question.
We're going to have to ask
I think
some of
do
our
whatever
50 state
you
friends.
feel good about.
Oh, boy. Now I would have to do two different races.
Yeah, it would have to be two different.
It would have to be two different races.
I would think that Arizona would probably claim, because you're the majority of the race. It's like
You have like a mile in Utah.
No, it's not even that. It's like literally like when you
A
enter
half
the
mile.
when you enter the parking lot,
You've
you hit
crossed into
13, and then you come back in. Like it's yeah,
You're right there on the border.
It's like that last tenth of a mile. It's like
Still, you're in two different states.
It is two different states.
Two different states. And
Start and finish.
yeah, it's great. And we're excited to be back on this original course. Of course, COVID took us off of the course last year, which we still had a great course. It was just challenging off the Page Rim Trail, finishing it down at the amphitheater. But this year we're back to all systems go. So we're going to go through the whole schedule, get you up to date on everything that you need to know to have a successful weekend with us at the Lake Powell Half Marathon.
For over 40 years, Nathan has provided best-in-class running essentials designed to help runners enhance and improve their performance mile after mile and year after year. From our hydration vests and handhelds to our safety gear and apparel, Nathan products deliver on what matters most to you: intuitive design, comfort, quality, and smart storage. Check us out at nathansports.com or follow at nathansports Inc. on Instagram.
The first thing I want everybody to know is Arizona is on a different time zone than Utah.
Yeah, they're on the same as California right now. So
Yes.
that's the best way to. They're on Pacific time.
Yep. And
right
I'm not
now,
even
so.
going to get into the fact that they don't change.
Yeah.
We're just going to say if you fly into Las Vegas, you're going to be on the same time zone as when you get to Page.
Yep.
Don't worry about it when you go through Utah.
Yeah, we have another race that we do here in March. It's our Antelope Canyon Ultra, and the time actually changes during the event every year.
Yeah,
Like,
it gets real dicey in there.
The expo is on one, like, and then daylight, whatever, it changes like the night of the race. So it's like,
So the best suggestion I have for you when you're coming is when you get to Page, make sure your phone is not automatically changing the time zone. You're so close to the border that it will literally flip back and forth.
It bounces back and forth constantly. So it messes up people's alarms.
Yes.
So like people, I have to always think about like what this does. So
'Cause
it
they would
actually
get up.
would make you earlier for the race,
Right.
which isn't a terrible thing. But if you're wanting to get an extra hour of sleep, you're going to appreciate
Yeah.
that you did that so that you're not.
So go into your settings, go into general date and time if you are an iPhone user,
Yeah.
and put it so it's not that you have to manually change the time zone
Right.
for this race. It's going to make you much happier. If you have an Android phone, good luck. I hope it does that too. I have no idea if it even works.
I always have this discussion with my wife. She
has an Android?
She's stubborn. Yeah, she doesn't
June.
She doesn't want to
June.
switch.
We need to have a talk with that
Me
woman.
and all my kids, all five of us, we're all Apple users.
She's a holdout.
She's like, nope, I'm not going that route.
How about this? Comment below on why you want to use an Android, because we just don't know why you want to use Android. Okay, we're getting way off topic. We could go down a big rabbit hole. When you got Lyle and I on microphones that are open, you're in trouble. Let's just put it that way. It happens. Okay, so Expo Day, Friday, October 8th. What time does the expo start?
Expo starts at noon.
Noontime.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. At John C.
Yeah.
Page Park, which is right in the downtown area of
Right
Page.
next to the high school.
And this is the thing about Page. Some of you have never been there. We say downtown Page. Page is really just a very small place.
It's a plateau.
That's a good way of
That's
putting it. It's a mesa.
Yeah.
And we're on top of it. And so if you're staying anywhere around Page, there are chances that you're within walking distance from most of your hotels. There are some newer hotels that are kind of on that south side off of Highway 89 that might be a little bit farther away, but you're within a couple miles
Right.
of this.
Yeah, if you're actually up on the plateau, very, very walkable.
Yeah, very, very walkable. So check that out before you come because we do have plenty of parking there, but it's an easy walk. There's lots of restaurants on the main roads and everything like that. Very walkable, very small town. And this is a great park. I actually love this location.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Yeah, and it actually is the same location that we'll be using for the start of the race on Saturday morning too. So yeah, it's great to familiarize yourself with it, but also kind of like what we were just talking about. If you're staying in a hotel that's within walking distance, I'd highly recommend just walking there on race morning just to avoid the whole.
Yeah. And we'll tell you how to
Parking
get
lot.
back with shuttles and stuff like that because we have that opportunity. So if you're in walking distance, definitely walk over to the race expo. It'll start at noon. Of course, we can't handle people before noon. So don't try to come at 10:30 or 11.
Sleep in.
Sleep in. Yeah,
Sleep in.
totally.
Go to
sleep in.
breakfast. Have a good morning.
It would be great. So noontime is when you're going to come over to the expo. And I always love this because Lake Powell, of course, we're right there on Navajo Nation is right outside of Page. I mean,
Right.
basically Page is an incorporated city, but the Navajo Nation makes up really the area
Pretty much
surrounding
surrounds it. Yeah.
So being on the Navajo Nation gives us a unique opportunity to kind of
Some cultural.
to kind of
yeah.
engage with their culture. And so we've got the Navajo hoop dancers coming.
Mm-hmm.
Tomas.
Yep.
I love Tomas.
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a great job.
He does do a great job. And
he explains a lot of their culture before, he does it just so that you kind of understand the symbolism behind the hoop dancing and all that.
and he's like a
stuff.
world champion hoop dancer.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you haven't seen the hoop dancing,
Yeah, look it up on YouTube.
oh, it's so cool.
Yeah,
You're
they're
in for a
good.
treat. And if he brings his little daughter, it will be the most amazing thing ever because she's got little hoops and she's adorable.
Yeah, he does a good
So 4:00 on Expo Day on this Friday, we will have the Navajo hoop dancers. So we encourage you, if you have to come early, come back for that or
Mm-hmm.
come around that time and take part in that because it is a really special thing. They usually dance for about 30 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great opportunity. They want you to take pictures. They want to answer your questions. And
Yeah, they're usually pretty open to like letting you come up and like get pictures with them.
Mhm.
I don't know if they will because of COVID and stuff. They
Good
may be
point.
a little bit
They're
more
a little
guarded
more,
because
yeah.
of that, but you can definitely stand back and video their performance and take
Yeah.
pictures and stuff like that.
Well, and I think you just brought up something that was really important that we don't want to go too far into this before we talk about it. COVID-19 and the Navajo Nation, it was a pretty,
Right.
intense situation for them during COVID.
Right. And it still is. It
Yeah.
still is something that they're battling. So
And so we really need to be
respectful,
very respectful.
and mindful of
Yeah.
the fragility. I don't know if that's even a word.
I was like, fragile, that's from the Christmas story.
Fragile.
That's from the Christmas story,
I don't know
Lyle.
if fragility is a word, but like I'm gonna say it anyways because it sounds
Okay.
I just
fragility
I
of
just
the-
liled that word.
You did love that word. So we just want to be really respectful because for most of 2020, the Navajo Nation was 100% shut down. They weren't
Yep.
even to run. Tourism is a huge part of where they make their income. They weren't able to do that.
Right.
So the more we can respect their policies and things in keeping them safe with COVID-19, the more they can support themselves and the more
Right.
that they can have their businesses and take
and
care
the
of their
sooner
families
they can get back opened up
to normal. Yeah. So we want to do our very, very best as far as it goes with that. But as far as the race goes, we don't have a mask requirement for the race. But of course, if you're in an area that's congested, we still want you to be mindful
Yeah,
of
we
COVID-19.
just like Colleen said, we just want to make sure that everybody's mindful of other people, and maybe some people aren't as comfortable
Yeah.
in crowds as others. So like, just be aware and respectful of those people that might want their space.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Just have a mask with you just in case you are going to need it. But Expo Day is going to go pretty easily on Friday. Again, 12 to 6. The expo ends at 6. We've got some vendors coming
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
Awesome. So
Yep. Got some vendors coming, and it should be a good one. It's going to be, back to normal expo.
Nice.
Is
except no
nice as that is.
s'mores.
except for no s'mores. No, not yet.
Not yet. We'll get there.
We're not ready to bust out those hammocks.
That
and
sticky
stuff yet.
situation.
That's a sticky situation.
I think that's just what we don't want is that's the sticky situation that is the s'mores. It is very sticky.
We'll just blame COVID for
all that.
sticky s'mores.
So Race Expo is going to end at 6, but you do have till 7 o'clock to pick up your bib. So just the vendors won't be there between
Correct.
6 and 7. So
Yeah,
just
they'll start
you're coming a
breaking
little
down
late.
at 6. And
Yeah.
so if you want to get the full expo experience, then make sure you're there before 6.
It is a great park. It's got a great little playground for the kids and everything like that. So it really, it's all grass. But it's a great location for the expo. Nerding out on data, perfecting the optimal training and nutrition plan, aiming for progression in PRs. Sound like you? Well, Gnarly Nutrition can relate. Featuring a full line of honest sports nutrition products, Gnarly provides the best nutrition possible for all types of mountain athletes. Because they offer great tasting and reputable products, Vacation Races trust Gnarly to be the on-course hydration sponsor. With the low-calorie, high-electrolyte Gnarly Hydrate for shorter races and the calorie, electrolyte, and amino acid-filled Gnarly Fuel 2.0 for longer races. Gnarly is here, taking the bonking out of your big day. Use code VACATION15 during checkout at GoGnarly.com for 15% off. I'm sure there's people that are staying down at the lake at the Waweep Resort down there, which is by the finish line.
Yep.
And so how do we get them to the start line? What are our options here for that morning?
We will have a shuttle that'll be running from the finish line in the morning. There, like you said, next to the Waweep Marina, down at the state line, there will be shuttles running. Plenty of parking there. So if you are staying, inside the park boundaries, or even, coming in from slightly
Kanab, Big
closer
Water,
to that area,
something like that,
then obviously that would probably make more sense instead of driving all the way into Page. Just go and park at the finish line and jump on one of the shuttles in the morning. Those shuttles will start loading around 4:15ish, somewhere around there, and then the first shuttle is going to leave about 4:45. But we've got several shuttles, so there's not just one shuttle.
There's not because everybody thinks we only do one.
I did
shuttle.
say we have a shuttle, and then I realized someone might take me literal on that.
Everybody just freaked out because they're like, "How am I getting on the shuttle?"
There are multiple shuttles,
okay.
So anybody who's taking the shuttle from the finish line obviously doesn't have to worry about their car's going to be there when they finish. They can just get in their car and leave. Anybody who just drives to the start or walks to the start, then those shuttles will be there at the finish line.
They'll go in reverse. Okay.
To their cars after the race.
And there's plenty of parking at the start line as well. Like you said, we're right by the high school.
Yeah, so we'll utilize all the high school parking that morning. And then also all the streets have plenty of parking there. So
really, logistics are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's always nice when we have parking available at both the start and the finish, so we can kind of split up where the bulk of the people are parking. It just makes it so where it's not so chaotic one place or the other. So,
and Lyle said there's plenty of parking at the finish line, and when we say plenty of parking, we mean plenty of parking. It is a boat ramp, and it is. I don't actually know if it's active right now. We'll get into the low water situation, but it's huge. Like it's a massive area.
They're actually extending the ramp right now, so it's not an active boat ramp right now. But there's plenty of parking there. So.
Yeah, so don't worry about parking. You're going to have that. We'll get you to the start line, and of course, the start. What time is the start going to be for this one?
The race is going to start at 6:30.
Okay.
So we'll be, normally with our races, we have different waves. So everyone's assigned a wave. With COVID, we've kind of had to stagger a lot of our start times. And so the waves have actually been a really great way to kind of like automatically just assign people a start time. And so it's flowed very well through the past year and a half to utilize those waves as assigning people a certain start time to kind of stagger the start out. We're not going to have to do that. We're still going to have our waves, but we're not going to have to stagger the race. So we will still have, the waves will be staggered, but not in the sense that we've had to do in the past.
Right. There's not going to be minutes between each of the waves. It's more going to be like a rolling start probably be where we don't want to put, too many of you all out on the course at once because that causes congestion, especially.
We'll probably have like a small break here and there between waves just to get the congestion, because the first mile of the course, you're just doing a loop through a residential part of Page. Mm-hmm. And then we have some traffic control that we have to, get everybody safely across the, a busy road and stuff. So we have police there and stuff to get everybody across. So we have to try and get everybody across in a fairly quick a matter of time. But at the same time, we don't want everybody stepping on everybody.
Sure. So it will be a really easy start, more like a normal start. We use the waves also. It's based on your projected finish time. So you're running with people who are probably very close to your same pace, and it just kind of helps with the whole flow of the race. So that's why we ask you to stay in your waves and things like that. If you do need to change, if like Lyle and I went to run together, he was in a different wave than I was, we can always go back to a different wave or something like that. So that's not a problem there. So we'll just line up in the waves. We'll get you guys out on the course at 6:30, and then we have a beautiful course. Like I said, I really love this course, and plenty of aid stations out there. 6 total aid stations. They come every 2 miles after mile 3.
Yep.
What's going to be at all those aid stations?
Every aid station is going to have water, of course.
Good
thing.
That's
good
a
thing.
really
we'll have
good
water
thing.
there. You guys are in for a treat.
We're in the desert.
Hey, you guys are in for a treat. We got water for you at our aid
in
stations.
blue jugs.
And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to also have gnarly at each of those aid stations.
That's a treat.
That is a treat.
Any raspberry gnarly yet?
I don't think we have that yet.
Gosh,
so
Dan, I'm waiting for it to come out.
I don't think we'll get it till next year.
All right.
Next year's stash. But if you guys haven't tried gnarly, I'm going to tell you right now, it's, I think, my favorite electrolyte drink.
Well,
it's a
and
really
we're
good
not
one.
just spouting off because
No,
they're a
we're really
great
not.
sponsor. They're a great partner. I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't like electrolyte drinks. I am an electrolyte pill kind of a girl.
Yeah.
I really like gnarly.
Yeah.
It works well.
Gnarly's great. So we'll have water and gnarly at every aid station. Also, we'll have honey stinger gels. And so that's at every aid station. And then at miles 7 and 11, we're going to also have some cut up bananas and oranges for you, which is great. But then at our very first aid station, which is around mile 3, I've learned over the years to not say mile 3. I'm just going to say it's around mile 3.
It is.
But I'm going to say
it's at the church parking lot.
Yeah, it's at the Mormon church parking lot there in Page. There, we'll have our aid station set up there. And at that aid station,
very good.
Not at the mile marker, but at that aid station, we will have clothing drop available for anybody who I don't foresee it being too cold on race morning.
Generally not.
But
if you wanted to start with a long sleeve on.
Yeah, who knows? If it happens to be chilly that morning and you feel like it's too cold to take your long sleeve, sweatshirt or jacket or just long sleeve shirt off before you start the race, you do have options and you can run with it until that aid station and then you can throw it and we'll bring it
but only at that first aid station.
But only at that first aid station. Yep.
We don't want to decorate the desert with all your clothes.
No. And if you do, there's no guarantees that you're going to get it back.
Sure. Somebody might just pick it up and be like, that's a nice sweatshirt.
So yeah, anything that's left elsewhere on course is going to be considered trash.
Yeah.
But if you leave it at the aid station, then we will bring it back to the finish line and it'll be there for you to claim along with your gear check bags.
Perfect. And gear check bags, we missed hitting on that at the start line.
Right.
Same situation. Say you've shuttled up in the morning. It was cool in the morning. You don't want to start with your long pants on and your sweatshirt. You can throw it in a gear check bag.
Yep.
We'll take those right at the start line. We'll take them to the finish.
Yeah, just don't put your keys or your phone in
Keys, phones, wallets, car rental agreements.
Anything very valuable.
VRBO
Like, we do
contracts.
a great job of keeping all this stuff safe.
Yeah.
But there's unforeseen things that come up. And so, just for your own protection, just don't put it in your bag. So.
Because you don't want that to be the one bag that for some reason we can't find.
Right.
Because it's never a good situation.
No.
So gear chalk bags, at the start line. Your gear, if you started with something loose clothing, drop first aid station. Let's clarify that. What's fueling your race? Is nature powering your run? Nature's Sunshine puts the power of nature into your hands with world-class herbs and supplements, protein powders, and active nutrition formulas designed to keep you healthy for the long haul. With nearly 50 years of expertise and an impeccable reputation for excellence in the natural health industry, we're proud to partner with Vacation Races to offer you 15% off your order. Just use promo code NSPVR at checkout. That's NSPVR. Live better, climb higher, dream bigger, dig deeper, and power your game with the power of nature at naturesunshine.com. After that first aid station, we get on my very favorite part of the course, which is the Page Rim Trail.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
It's a good one. So, The thing that's really cool about this trail system, it actually goes all the way around the whole city.
We
of
use it
Page.
for our Ultra.
Yeah, we use it for our Ultra. It's about
10 miles.
10-ish miles.
Yeah, it's about 10.
And so our Antelope Canyon Ultra runs, the 100-miler does multiple loops on it after they've done everything else.
But everybody kind of finishes on it.
But everybody runs on that, and it's a pretty amazing trail system. And quite honestly, if you get the chance, like, I don't want to tell you to go run it before the race because I don't want to negatively affect your race. But if you get a chance to go walk it, hike it, run it after the race, I recommend it. It gives you a great perspective and view of the whole surrounding area there.
It's like the whole mesa. It goes around that whole mesa that Page sits up on top of, and it's beautiful. You go through, there's like different sections of the Page Rim Trail, and it definitely is. Or if you're a mountain biker, bring your mountain bike.
Yeah, we don't run the whole Page Rim Trail. We only run a couple miles on it, but it's
probably the best.
It's probably the best couple miles on there. We're overlooking Lake Powell as we're on the part that we're running, so it kind of gives you a really cool, like, scenic view of the lake. And so,
well, and that's like the first unique part of this race course is you've got this Page Rim Trail, about 1.5 miles, almost 2 miles on the Page Rim Trail. Once you get off that, you are up above Glen Canyon Dam, kind of looking down. You drop down, you run down the road, and you get to cross over the Glen Canyon Dam. Like,
not the dam, but the bridge right next to the dam.
Sure. I mean, basically, it's the only other way that you can do it. But you're
they
right
won't
there.
allow us to run across the dam.
No,
that would be pretty cool if they did.
It would be pretty cool, but they don't allow people to drive across dams anymore. Go figure.
I don't know why.
Things can happen. And so you actually get to run. You're right there on the dam. It's really cool. And once you come across the dam, then we take that turn and we get into the National Recreation Area and Lakeshore Drive all the way to the State Line boat ramp and all down Wallweed Marina is the name of the marina that you're going to run along. And it's great. Very low traffic on that road.
Well, we closed down the whole northbound lane. So you guys are running in the northbound lane. So southbound traffic can still drive in the other lane, but you guys have the whole northbound lane that you guys basically own.
It's really nice.
So
the one thing I want you to know, we said that this is a fast course, which it is, because there was one time, Lyle, where we started the race at the park. We made a little bit of traffic going over the bridge because the runners get to go over the bridge. And so we're down to one lane. So it makes some traffic. So my husband and I, who does the sound, we are rushing, trying to get through this traffic. The guy beat us to the finish line.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I couldn't believe it. I could not get my microphone on fast enough, and he ran right underneath the finish line arch. He actually beat us. This is the only time we have been beat to the finish line. So it could be fast.
112 was the course record.
Oh, I swore it was faster than that.
Yeah, I was thinking it was 108, but it's 112.
I just remember him. He had red hair. He had a red beard. I totally remember him.
Yeah, Mike Popejoy, right?
Was it Mike Popejoy?
Well, I think that year. But the record is T.O. White. T.O. Sean White.
Okay.
Is the course record holder.
I always throw that out to a challenge to our, front runners. Those guys who are on gun time, they're in that first wave. Everybody else going for age group awards, you're on chip time, so it doesn't really matter. But those guys on gun time, they're running for those overall awards. I always say, hey, see if you can beat me to the finish line. Because at this event, it could possibly happen.
Right.
So let's see. So it really is a great race. But I do want to say, I have run this race myself, and I've run this course many times. There's some hills in the last little bit when you're on that Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, if definitely
mile 10.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, they're not big. They're just little rollers, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
But they can feel, especially with tired legs. By the time you get to that point, they can feel more significant than they actually are.
Because I just never want you guys coming and saying, "Hey, you guys told us it was so fast, it was so hard." No, there are hills.
Yeah, you can look at the elevation, and you can see that it doesn't stay downhill the whole way.
No, it doesn't. But it is very runnable and great. And going back to the Page Rim Trail, if you're not a trail runner, you might be like, "Oh my gosh, I've never done trail. Do I need trail shoes?" Page Rim Trail, especially this section.
It's very hard packed dirt.
Hard packed dirt or slick rock that you're on top of.
Yeah.
It's wide in a lot of the spots. When you very first get onto the Page Rim Trail, it's a little bit narrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Just right when you first get on.
Yeah. And so it might feel a little bit crowded there. But then once you get down onto the actual rim trail, there's plenty of spaces.
Right.
It's easy to ask someone, if you can pass, and you can pass easily and things like that. So it's not real narrow. It's not tree lined.
And you're 4 miles into the race at that point too.
Things are spreading out.
So it's not as you're not as congested as you are, because the first 4 miles of the course, you're all on city streets, and so there's a lot of room to pass people. So if you're wanting to pass somebody, take advantage of it in that first 4 miles.
Exactly.
Before you jump onto the trail. But then once you come off the trail, you're all back.
You're
on
on
city
pavement.
roads.
Yeah. So it's just that little point.
It's a
and
couple miles.
if you're going to get on this trail and it's going to be beautiful, you're going to want to take pictures.
Right.
Just be aware of people behind you. Step to the side. It's easy to step to the side off the trail in a safe manner. So just make sure you do that. So it makes sure that people can get by you if they need to get by you. Always a little respect and kindness goes a long way when we're on those little trail sections.
Little trail etiquette.
Oh, and it's such good trail. It's such good trail.
It is good.
I feel like once you like get on that page rim and then you're like, no, I want more of the page rim. It's so good. You'll have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, this was actually, this entire page rim trail was actually the course that we ran last year.
Yes, it was.
Due to COVID complications with us finishing in the park. So we just our backup course was the entire page rim trail, which was great.
Yeah, it really is something to see. So basically, you're going to get to the finish line right there at the boat ramp. We got a great finish line, beautiful backdrop, Wally Bay, Castle Rock right there. Really gorgeous. We're going to do an award ceremony.
Yep. We're going to have award ceremony.
Awesome. So we'll be doing that award ceremony. We haven't had a lot of award ceremonies.
Yeah, we'll be starting that at 9:15.
Okay, perfect.
Kind of the standard time that we've done in the past.
If you're running on competitively for overall awards or masters overall awards, you're going to be timed on gun time, which means you need to be in the first wave that leaves. When the race starts, your gun time starts. Yeah,
so make sure that you're not late to the race, because if you're wanting to go for one of those overall spots, they do go off of gun time.
Yeah.
Everybody else is chip timed.
Yep.
So
doesn't matter where you start, what way
you may have a faster overall time if you started last, but the awards are going to be based off of gun time.
Right.
So that's going to
only the overall awards are based off of gun time. Everything else will take into consideration where you started, and your chip will trigger when you cross the start line. So it'll be super easy. So once you're to the finish line, we're going to give you a big, beautiful Vacation Races medal. What's on the medal this year, Lyle?
Oh man, Lake Powell.
I know Lake Powell. I know, but sometimes it's like Castle Rock. Sometimes it's Rainbow Bridge. Sometimes, it could be Lone Rock.
It's a good question. I can't recall off the top of my head.
He just wants you guys to be surprised. That's what this is all about.
I've seen it, and now that you put me on the spot, I can't think of what it looks like.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
But it is pretty amazing, and we try to change the design every year, and to be honest with you, I have a hard time keeping them all straight. So.
I know. I'm trying to look at the race guide that we've printed out. I'm getting old lady eyes, so I'm having a hard time.
I know. I'm looking at it too.
Looking at it, and it just looks like the lake.
It just looks like a meandering view of the
part of the lake. So let's talk about the lake for a minute, though. The lake levels are very low.
Yeah, it's low.
Historic lows. It went down 50 feet over last year's low.
Yeah.
It's actually problematic. It's closed down. The State Line boat ramp had to close down.
Yeah.
Antelope boat ramp has not been opened for months and months because the water levels are so low, and they did not extend that boat ramp. I don't know if they can extend the Antelope boat ramp.
I'm not sure if they can either. That one's pretty tight.
It is pretty tight. And it had a cliff. They had pictures of people trying to get kayaks down a cliff in order to get to the water levels. So it's really problematic there as far as water goes. You're going to notice a big toilet ring all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
But it shows you how low the water's gone to. I have a friend who was just on the lake over Labor Day weekend, and they went to Escalante Arch. It's not been seen in decades.
It's been underwater.
And it's starting to peek out from underwater because Glen Canyon, that makes up Lake Powell, is underneath there.
Yeah.
And there are all of these features and things that no one has seen for years because the lake is 200 feet deep at some points. So,
when I was in high school, we used to always hear horror stories of giant catfish the size of Volkswagens that could swallow people.
The carp of Lake Powell.
Oh, yeah.
They got to be some huge ones down there. If they ever drain the lake, it would just be dead carp everywhere.
Dead giant catfish just down there.
I can't even imagine. But the lake levels are very, very low. So when you go, you will see that it has definitely impacted that area in a big way. Boats not not being able to be launched or to be pulled out.
Well, and it's caused long delays in getting boats
It
launched
has.
because it's basically choked everything down to like a single file line to get the boats launched and taken out of the water, and sometimes those launch times are 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just trying
So
to
it's been really an interesting season, and it's crazy. But all these, we're talking about some of these fun facts and some of these things. I want to do a little plug for our RaceJoy app. We have a tracking app that we use, and if you've got some spectators coming, or you just want to track yourself, we have the RaceJoy app. So download that before you get there. And if you're using it, you start it when you start your race, and we've built in some really fun facts, some history, things about the area. I make some hiking suggestions and stuff. And I put all this, build it in so that you can listen to it and hear it as you get to different points along
It
the
really
course.
is kind of fun. We've had people like at other races message me afterwards like, hey, can you send me those fun facts that were on there? Like, I'd love to be able to share those recordings and stuff. So
it's just a fun extra thing. It's like an audio tour guide that's built into your RaceJoy app. So plan to use that. And it's a great way for people, even who aren't right there with you spectating, they can spectate from afar. They can send you cheers and things like that. So it is really fun. So RaceJoy is definitely one that you want to check on. And you'll learn a little bit more about the lake. And I talk about the low water levels and why it's like that and stuff.
I live close by and I learn something every time.
It's good stuff. So is there anything else on the course that we've missed, Lyle, with this course? Our aid stations, age group awards.
We'll have medics also on course. I forgot to add that, but we'll have medics on course at mile 7.
Yeah.
Just right before you go across the bridge, there'll be medics there. So if I don't foresee anybody having any sort of medical issues on course, but just be aware that there is some medics that'll be there and also at the finish line. So we got you covered.
We'll take good care of you there. And of course, once you finish, if you did park up at the John C. Page Park up by the high school, we'll have those shuttles that will be headed back there. They'll just be filling and leaving from that parking lot. So you can do that. Make sure you have a mask for shuttles when you're riding shuttles as well. Of course, if you parked at the finish line in the morning, you're going to be right there.
Right.
If you are staying at the Lake Powell Resort, that's right there at the Wahweap Marina, it's about a mile walk, and there's a little trail that goes straight over to our finish line. So it's something that I would look at in the daytime before you walked it at night, just so you know right where it's at. Or if you're camping, the Lake Powell campground is right across the street from where the finish line is. So it really is a great location, and we'll have shuttles going either way for you.
Yeah.
Just refer to that. So yeah, we've got, and if you want more suggestions on things to do in the area, we have our Spark Challenges app. Spark Challenges. Download that, and it will give you, it's also in our printed race guide or our PDF online race guide. It has a list of fun activities that you can do. Some are historical, some are hiking, some are to do with cultural things in the area. And you can do those. You can earn some points, and those points will add up to get you your Lake Powell Explorer Club badge, which is free. It's taking the place of our club hikes and our trifecta activities.
And it's pretty fun. It's a great way to kind of like get engaged with the area when you're there and to really explore some, some things that are off the beaten path. And Colleen, I'm just looking at this runner demographic. This is actually one of the most fascinating parts of the race guide that I love to look at. I
love this page.
So it's on page 8 in your race guide. And it's a very interesting thing to just look at the stats of who's coming to this race.
Where they're coming from.
Yeah, so we have 47 states represented and 2 countries. Now, this is interesting. Usually we have more countries represented.
International travel, yeah.
So because of COVID, like I've noticed that this, we've got Canada and the U.S. that
those Canadians can sneak in a little bit.
They have an easier time sneaking down here than we do going up there. But, but we got 47 states represented. It looks like we don't have anybody from Maine.
I think it's Maine, Rhode Island, and
Delaware.
Yeah. Don't know what's going on there, guys.
Rhode Island is usually
it's a tough one to get.
One.
Yeah, it's a tough one to get. And Delaware's pretty small as well. I mean, let's be honest.
And then we have 107 males in the age 25 to 29. So that's our largest male demographic.
That's a young demographic.
That is a young demographic.
That's
usually it's the next 2 that usually
the
dominate
30s
that demographic.
That's interesting.
So that's good to see that the younger male crowd is getting more active and involved in that capacity. And then same with on the female side.
Yeah.
It's 30 to 34 has 196.
That's our biggest age group there.
That's the biggest one right there.
And
but
ladies showing up. I mean,
the ladies are
showing
showing up. Yeah, it's like I said, when you get the race guide, it's interesting to look at this demographics page and see where everybody's coming from and all that stuff.
Well, I also like to see, 75 and older. We have 3 participants in the 75 and older category.
Yeah, 1 male and 2 females. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It is. And in 74, we have 10 males aged
Yeah.
70
And
to
5
74.
females.
Yeah. So I just love that where, we've got the 20-year-olds. We have people who are going to be maybe even in their 80s, like Len when he comes out to
Yeah.
run with us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 82, 83,
That's
I
so
think, this year.
amazing.
It's so much fun. And that's what Vacation Races really is all about. It's unique and it's made for everyone. As we're saying that, when people get worried about cutoff times and things like that, we have a 4-hour course limit on this
Right.
Lake Powell Half Marathon, which is about an 18.5-minute mile.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's very walker friendly.
Yep.
I don't think you have to worry about
you
that.
may have to boot, scoot, and boogie every once in a while.
Just a little bit.
Just to kind of keep yourself on that pace.
But we'll have pacers who
Yep.
will be lining up with the different waves, and they'll be running the same pace as that projected finish time for that wave. And we'll have sweepers out there, people to help you along to
Yep.
make sure you're on the right pace. So
and the
beast pacing
sweepers
will
will be keeping that pace. So, to make sure that nobody falls behind them and stuff. And and this is 25% of our participants. This is going to be their first half marathon.
That's pretty high.
And 50%, it's their first time visiting Lake Powell. So
Wow.
half of you guys, it's
I've
your
never
first time
seen it.
coming here.
Okay, so Lyle, you're coming to Lake Powell for the very first time.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you think they should do while they're there?
Well, it's kind of different now that the water's so low.
It is, yes.
Because like back in the day, like me and all my high school buddies, our senior year in high school, we went and did our senior trip at Lake Powell, and my buddy's dad had a houseboat there, and so we spent a whole week there and cruised. But that was in '95,
Yeah.
and the water was like at an all-time high. in
Right.
95.
I
Like,
remember that.
It was
Way
like almost
high.
busting over the dam, so they were having to
Yes.
like spill water over the spillways and stuff, which was crazy to see where it's at now
Right.
versus then. So, but one of the things that I love doing is taking a boat up to Rainbow Bridge.
Yes.
Like that's it's an all day thing. Like
It is.
Like it's going to take you all day, but
I
like
think the tour boats, and I don't know if the tour boats are leaving, you're going to have to check with water levels
Yeah.
on that. I'm not sure, but they do have tours out of the Lake Powell Resort. And
Yeah.
it's like a 2.5-hour boat ride up there.
right.
But it's the largest freestanding arch
Yeah. What's the
It's-
difference between an arch and a bridge?
and a bridge.
Because Rainbow Bridge is not an arch, it's a bridge.
It's a bridge. Is it because the water goes under it?
So a bridge is formed by water
Okay.
and an arch is formed by wind.
So
Those are
Arches
the two.
National Park,
Yeah.
delicate arch is formed by
Mhm.
wind.
Yeah.
Where Rainbow Bridge, there used to be when the water was high, the water would flow
Now,
underneath the bridge.
when I was in high school, you used to be able to drive your boat right up underneath of the
Yes.
bridge.
Yeah, and the thing about Rainbow Bridge that you also need to remember is it is sacred land
Yeah,
to the Navajo
yeah,
Nation now,
yeah.
and so they really have cut back on going underneath the bridge
Right,
and doing
right.
weird things off of the bridge, stuff that we used to do in the 80s and
Yeah,
90s.
yeah.
That was probably not very, very smart, but
Respectful.
but Rainbow Bridge, amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Rainbow Bridge and stop at Dangling Rope.
yeah.
Our favorite thing was like
we
always
love dangling rope.
stop at Dangling Rope and get some ice cream,
It's
feed it
a-
to the carp.
And yes, feed it to the carp that are huge. That could
Yeah.
eat your entire arm.
Oh, yeah.
Dangling Rope is a gas station in the middle of the lake. If you don't know about Lake Powell, it is massive.
Yeah, it's got more lakeshore than the East Coast
The
of the United
Pacific
States.
Coast. Yeah, the Pacific
No, I heard
Coast.
the East Coast too.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess it's
I
huge.
mean, I think it's the same way.
There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much shoreline. It's absolutely incredible. So people go out there for weeks at a time on houseboats, and there's so many nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
And look at a map, and you'll get a better perspective for Lake Powell. It is giant.
Yeah.
So it is pretty cool to get out there. I would say with low lake levels, if you got to do one thing, you got to go to Horseshoe Bend while you're there.
Horseshoe Bend is really, but that's not at the lake.
It's not
but
at the lake, but it's right
yeah,
there.
Horseshoe Bend is definitely a must. The first year we did this race, it was 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember the owner, Salem Stanley.
Yeah.
We were out there, and he's like, "Oh, you want to go check out Horseshoe Bend?" And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's that picture on the phone book." I'd never heard of it before,
Right.
but the Yellow Pages phone book
Yes.
had a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." For years, I'd been going to Lake Powell.
and you drive right by it.
I had no idea it was there.
Yeah.
I had no idea. But now
They've made a
with-
really nice visitor center
with
and everything.
the creation of Facebook and Instagram,
You see it all the time.
all these little gem places are very well known to
They
the
are
rest
very
of the
well
world
known.
now. So
But it is something special to see. It is beautiful. They do have a whole new setup out there, a new
Yeah.
parking lot. They have a new trail. If you've done it before, you don't have to go up and over like the sand
Yeah.
anymore. They actually have another trail that goes out. It's fully
I
accessible
think
now.
it's wheelchair friendly.
Yeah, it's
now,
fully
so-
accessible, so you can go out there. Unfortunately, they have put up railings.
Yeah, because some people fell off.
It's not. It's like what 1,500 feet straight down.
It's a long way.
It's a long way down. And
Have
it's-
you hiked down on the other side?
I
down
have
to the river?
not.
We should go do that.
I have not.
We did it last year. That was my first time doing
Lyle's talking about what is it called? I forget what the hike is called.
it.
It's probably not on any maps.
It's not. It's
You-
actually the Park Service does not want anybody.
They
doing
don't
it.
want you to
I
use
probably
it.
shouldn't be talking.
We probably
about
should.
it.
You know what? Let's just stop.
We'll
Just
continue
say-
this conversation later.
Just saying that you can get down to the river. There's a secret way. We're not going to tell you about it, but we do this on every podcast, Lyle. We put
There's
these,
our Easter egg
we
for
put
you.
these Easter eggs in there, and everybody's like, "Ooh, what is Colleen and Lyle talking about?" Oh, too much. We have too much fun with this.
Uh-huh.
It is a beautiful place. You're going to love it. I was looking just the other day on tours for Antelope Canyon. A lot of people want to go to Antelope Canyon. I was still finding tours that were available about $50 per person.
Yeah, I think they're just really reducing the size.
10
Like,
people.
the-
What I saw with Ken's tours, because we've
Yeah.
done Ken's tours before, 10 people is the maximum size that they take.
Yeah.
They do take some smaller groups of 5, but it's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to go to Antelope Canyon, probably book it sooner than later.
Right,
But
yeah.
it is open as of the recording of this podcast right now. It is
Great.
open.
Great.
So that is something that you can go and do. But it is going to cost some money because that is owned and operated through the tribe and some of the private
Right.
establishments that have access to that canyon. Because again, it's native sacred land and you are a visitor to get to go and see that beautiful stuff. So some great stuff to do and to see at Lake Powell. I love it. It's kind of a close to home race for us because we're not too far away from it. So
Yeah.
it's
Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
it is. We're only about 2 hours away from where we live in St. George in southern Utah. So you're going to love it. If you have any questions, can they reach out to you, Lyle?
Sure.
Okay. What's your email?
Lyle, Lyle at vacationraces.com.
Okay.
Feel free to shoot me an email. You can always shoot Kaylee, our customer service
Let's call her the
extraordinaire.
superstar. She's
Superstar, yes.
customer service superstar.
Yeah, her email is info@vacationraces, and she does a fantastic job
Yeah.
at answering emails as well. But
Yeah,
you're
so-
welcome to email me as or her.
Yeah. Any questions? We want to take good care of you, and we are excited to welcome you to Lake Powell, especially if it's your first time with Vacation Races. You're definitely in for a treat. If it is your first time, we do have another podcast we'd love for you to listen to. It's kind of a welcome and an orientation to Vacation Races, and that's going to tell you more about our zero waste policies, more about our cup-free aid stations and things like that, and what makes Vacation Races unique. So if you have never run with Vacation Races before, just jump over to the app that you're listening to with the podcast and find that Welcome and Orientation podcast, and you'll enjoy that as well. But until we see you at Lake Powell, train hard.
Toodaloo.
and Toodaloo. I don't think we've ever ended a podcast like that.
Nah, we'll just say Toodles for short.
Okay, I like that.
Toodles.
You've been listening to the Vacation Races and Friends podcast. We'd love your feedback. Email podcast@vacationraces.com with comments, concerns, or stories you'd love to share. Make sure to watch for more episodes coming soon to vacationraces.com. This episode was produced by Colleen Rue in the Festival Sound Studio. For information about music licensing, contact Dane at vacationraces.com.